Please get ready for a dictation of transcription number 397 and 398 from Sir Kailash Chandra magazine. 5 seconds. Start. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome the Union Budget for 1992-93 introduced by our Finance Minister. This budget is not just a riddle of figures. This budget is framed keeping in view the economic crisis which is threatening the country. It has covered a wide range and all the problems were kept in mind while framing it. We should all realize and remember one thing, that when this government came to power, the economic condition of the country was very bad. Taking into consideration the resources at our disposal, planning the allocation of funds is not an easy job. It will not be an exaggeration if I say that it was a Herculean task for our finance minister. If we think unbiasedly, each one of us will support this budget. Sir, we all know that 80% of our population lives in villages. Social and economic conditions of these villages should be improved. The farmer, whom we consider the backbone of our country, should be helped to come up economically and socially. This country should become self-sufficient as far as production of food grains is concerned. I am sorry to say that the allocation of funds to promote better agricultural production is not sufficient. As compared to the 1991-92 budget, the funds allocated for rural development are less. Rural population depends on agriculture, cottage and small-scale industries. So it is necessary that we encourage cottage and small-scale industries and also help the poor farmers. Sir, the NRI funds are utilized only for industrial sector. If they can be invested in some irrigation projects also, it will prove to be a boon to the farmer and it will help him produce more food grains, making the country self-sufficient in this area. It will also promote employment opportunities for many. Sir, in Andhra Pradesh for the last 15 years, not a single irrigation project has seen the light of the day. In this context, I would like to specially mention the proposed Polavaram project, which was conceived as a multi-purpose project to provide irrigation, drinking water, navigation and power. The estimated cost of this project in 1982 was rupees 675 crores, which has now gone up to rupees 3,000 crores. This project should be taken up as a national project. Sir, the farmer needs more assistance and help from the government. More subsidies should be provided for fertilizers, seeds, etc., so that the farmer can become self-sufficient and produce more. Backward and remote villages should be identified and funds should be allocated for their upliftment. There was a proposal for an aluminium project in Visakhapatnam. Sir, if started, it could create employment for at least 10,000 people. Through you, sir, I request the government to consider favorably the setting up of this project. Sir, I am happy that the price of gold has come down in the market, but then the prices of essential commodities are increasing day by day, affecting the common man. We should try to control this price hike. The government has introduced public distribution system in 1700 blocks of our country and has been laying great emphasis on its proper implementation. This is an appreciable step. Sir, whether it is MGR or NTR, whoever may be in power should see that basic requirements of every individual are met fully. Rice and sugar are not the only needs of the common man. Food, clothing and shelter should be provided to the common man. If more funds are required to fulfill this, the government should make a provision for it. We should improve the condition of those who are living below the poverty line. Our aim is the betterment of the poor, so more funds should be allocated for this purpose. Rural industries should be developed. The employment schemes should not remain on paper alone. Think of the khadi industry. The handloom weavers are committing suicide for lack of any source of livelihood. It is really a tragedy. Something should be done about this. Once there was a great demand for handloom cloth, but now people are crazy after the imported materials. The center and the state governments should do their best to encourage khadi industry and if need be, should not hesitate even to give financial assistance. Subsidies should be given to them and marketing should be done through Janta distribution system. Both khadi industry and agriculture are important for the rural population. So if these are encouraged and proper irrigation facilities are provided, the unemployment problem will be solved to a great extent. Sir, government has taken steps to convert 6,000 kilometers of railway lines from meter gauge to broad gauge. This will solve the problem permanently and alongside create more employment opportunities. Such steps are encouraging. More rural development schemes should be introduced and funds should be allocated therefore. Otherwise, poverty will increase and the rich will be beneficiaries. The budget presented by Dr. Manmohan Singh no doubt has laudable objectives, but unfortunately the laudable objectives enunciated in the budget speech are not reflected in the finance bill. So there is a wide gap between the assertions of the finance minister and their execution as per the finance bill. The country is baffled. The entire nation is baffled as to how Dr. Manmohan Singh managed to mesmerize the country with laudable objectives but without the concerned provisions in the finance bill. Dr. Manmohan Singh went on criticizing the previous two governments of 1.5 years. But the fact remains that the economic instability in the country actually took place during the Congress rule. When the first budget was presented in August 1947 by late Shri Shanguman Chetar, the revenue receipts at that time were to the tune of rupees 170 crores, whereas the expenditure was rupees 197 crores and the deficit was rupees 27 crores. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, as you know, the first budget was for only 6 months, but by the end of the year, the deficit was completely wiped out and the government came out successful and with a plus. In the present budget, the total expenditure of the government is rupees 1,19,000 and odd crores. Dr. Manmohan Singh and others from the government day in and day out say that they are curtailing government expenditure, but the figures go contrary to their assertions. When the colonial rule ended in 1947, the entire government of India was working only in the North Block and in the South Block. Now the government has expanded so much that its offices could not be accommodated in entire New Delhi. Their offices are at Krishi Bhavan, Yojana Bhavan, Shastri Bhavan, Nirman Bhavan and several other bhavans. Not satisfied with these, the Government of India's offices are at Lodi Road also. Not only this, the government acquired even the private houses and private buildings in Delhi to accommodate their offices. So the total expenditure of the government is going up. When we look at the figures in the expenditure budget, what is the total expenditure of the government on establishment and salaries? Sir, it is a fact that there are more than 43 lakhs of people working in the Government of India alone. Their salary bill, establishment charges, emoluments and other allowances amount to nearly 13,000 crores of rupees. If the pension bill is also added, it amounts to nearly 16,000 crores of rupees. It is the Government of India's alone, and when we take the state governments, establishments, local bodies, aided institutions and the public sector undertakings, there are more than 2 crores on their payrolls and the total expenditure involved in it is something around 45,000 crores of rupees. Little precious has been done to reduce the expenditure of the government. As for the figures of the non-plan expenditure, when compared to the last year's budget, the non-plan expenditure went up by 4,400 crores of rupees. If we calculate, the Government of India spends something about rupees 165 crores per day and rupees 16,000 per second to run the show. This is on the expenditure side alone. And to meet this expenditure, the government resorted to higher taxation and thereby the taxation has gone up and subsequently the revenue receipts went up. The revenue receipts account for 76,000 crores of rupees roughly. Not satisfied with this, the government goes in for borrowing money both internally and externally. The total debt burden of the Government of India is roughly about 4 lakh crores of rupees. The debt servicing, that is the interest payment, alone amounts to 32,000 crores of rupees per annum. So the per capita debt in India is rupees 4200. And if we add this figure to the debt of the state governments, the per capita debt goes up to rupees 6,000 or rupees 7,000, varying from one state to another. Even then, the government is not able to meet their expenses as they are living beyond their means. So, on one side, they are enhancing taxation, and on the other side, they are going for borrowings. As the money is still not sufficient, the government has resorted to deficit financing. Day in and day out, Dr. Manmohan Singh says that they are curtailing deficit financing. But the figures supplied by the finance minister show that the deficit financing is to the tune of 5,000 crores of rupees. But the fiscal deficit is more than rupees 34,000 crores. Stop.